therefore pursue me not. Where's Lysander and fair Hermia? The one I'll slay, the other slayeth me. Thou toldst me they were stolen unto this wood, and here am I enwoed within this wood because I cannot meet my Hermia. Hence, get thee gone and follow me no more.
You draw me, you hard-hearted adamant, but yet you draw not iron, for my heart is true as steel. Leave you your power to draw, and I shall have no power to follow you.
Do I entice you? Do I speak you fair? Or rather, do I not in plainest truth tell you I do not nor I cannot love you?
Even for that do I love you the more. I am your spaniel, and Demetrius, the more you beat me, I will fawn on you. Use me but as your spaniel. Spurn me, strike me, neglect me, lose me. Only give me leave, unworthy as I am, to follow you. What worser place can I beg in your love? And yet a place of high respect with you, than to be used as you use your dog.
Tempt not too much the hatred of my spirit, for I am sick when I do look on thee.
And I am sick when I look not on you.
Do you impeach your modesty too much to leave the city and commit yourself into the hands of one that loves you not? To trust in the opportunity of night and the ill counsel of a desert place with the rich worth of your virginity.
Your virtue is my privilege, for that it is not night when I do see your face. Therefore I think I am not in the night, nor doth this wood lack worlds of company. For you in my respect are all the world. Then how can it be said I am alone when all the world is here to look on me?
I'll run from thee and hide me in the brakes and leave thee to the mercy of wild beasts.
The wild hath not such a heart as you. Run when you will, the story shall be changed. Apollo flies and Daphne holds the chase. The dove pursues the griffin. The mile hide makes speed to catch the tiger. Bootless speed when cowardice pursues and valor flies.
I will not state a question. Let me go. Where dost thou follow me? Do not believe but that I shall do thee mischief in the wood.
Aye, in the temple, in the town, the fields would do me mischief. Fie, Demetrius, your wrongs do set a scandal on my sex. We cannot fight for love as men may do. We should be wooed and we're not made to woo. I'll follow thee and make a heaven of hell to die upon the hand I love so well.
Why do you think Shakespeare is relevant?
Oh, wait. Oh, I'm answering first. Okay. Well, Shakespeare kind of has this timeless quality because he more deals with overall conflicts that are prevalent throughout history, and so it's not really specific to his time period, but more stories that can be translated into like the modern day very easily.
I don't know if I'd say that Shakespeare's necessarily any more relevant than any other author. I mean, there's the fact that like he just writes pretty much every type of story that there is, and pretty much every story that's written now is based on a Shakespeare story, and most of his stories were based on stories that date back to at least the ancient Greeks. So it's just kind of like timeless stories in general that he writes. But yeah, I wouldn't say that he's necessarily more relevant than any other writer. It's just that his writing is written so poetically and so beautifully that people love to hear it. That even, you know, when he says the most simple of concepts, he says it in a way that you can relate to and that sounds poetic and musical. So I think that's why people love to perform it and hear it.
Why did you choose the stylization that you chose?
Mainly because previously we've seen this scene done in a very passive manner, and we wanted to try to explore how to make it more active and engaging.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that is fine. We can always do editing.
Yeah, I think as far as style, we mostly wanted something active. We wanted something that would interact with the audience. And so when we staged it for theater, and we had a lot of running around the audience and taking lines out to the audience, and so that's kind of the main style that we were going for, was very active, very interactive sort of style, and very physical, because this scene is basically a chase scene, and I've seen it performed where it's just talking, and really it should be a chase scene.
What is the key when you approach a piece like this?
Primarily making sure you understand what you're saying, because the more intention you have behind what you're saying, the more it conveys to the audience, especially when you're speaking in Shakespearean dialect. People have the tendency to go, oh, it's just Shakespeare, he's just saying things. But it's like, if you are actively thinking about what the words are, it's going to come across to the audience much easier.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that for any Shakespeare scene, the most important thing is getting the meaning across to the audience, because to a lot of people, it's a lot like hearing a different language, and you still need to be able to communicate the meaning. And for me, that's getting it through with your vocality and physicality. So you do have to understand what you're saying, but you have to be able to communicate it in a way that the audience can understand it. You need to make sure that you're emphasizing operative words. That's pretty much the main important thing for me. But then also getting physicality in there, where you're physicalizing what you're saying. For example, in this scene, there's contrasts like heaven and hell. I'll follow thee and make a heaven of hell. Heaven and hell are very different things, and you can't just get the general idea of what they're saying and say, I'll make a heaven of hell. You have to communicate what each word is and get the vocality and physicality of the specific words and the specific meanings in order for the audience to really hear them, because otherwise they just hear a generality, a jumble of words and text. So that's the main important thing for me.
Both of you have worked with each other on several projects. How does this affect your creative process?
Well, mainly she's like often the brains behind everything. She has more acting experience, so that really helps. But in terms of it is easier to feel like I can go further with my actions safely because I'm already familiar with acting with her. And I feel like we often kind of think of similar approaches to a scene, so as we go through and try to block the scene, we're kind of already understanding why we've made those choices, and thusly can more actively adapt to them.
It's hard to say exactly, because this is sort of the first time that I've worked with someone several times, and it's also the first time I've worked with someone who I'm actually really close to. So it's hard to say which one of those two things makes it easier, but I do notice that it's sort of being easier because we're able to just sort of get down to the work. You know, there's not so much awkwardness between us. It makes it a little bit easier just kind of being on the same page to start off with. But I think that our basic approach to it is kind of the same way that I've worked with any other actors. We try to run through the scene several times, just try to do it different ways, see what different kinds of choices we can make. And then after a few times, we sort of start figuring out what can we actually use and where are certain parts of the scene that, you know, need to go farther. Where is it getting too boring or too, you know, not dynamic, and how can we make more choices? What choices can we make? And so I feel like that's kind of the way that I tend to work with really any actor, but I feel like, like working together, we just sort of start off with being comfortable and, being able to skip that sort of getting to know your scene partner kind of awkwardness. But yeah, I'd say other than that, it's mostly the same.
Out of all the Shakespeare productions, which one would you want to do the most? Yes, I threw this one in here just to
surprise question. I mean, I feel like it's a bit cliche, but I've always loved the idea of Romeo and Juliet because it's just one of those plays that has so much like feeling behind it, and a lot of people like emphasize the romance of it. To me, I really see the tragedy of it, and basically people being torn away from each other who really love each other, and it's just a very moving piece, in my opinion.
Well, I've performed a lot of Shakespeare before, so it's kind of my idea of what I'd like to work on is sort of based on what I've already done. I mean, I love Romeo and Juliet, but I've done that play, so like not the whole play, but the scenes from it, like so many times that I'm a bit tired of Romeo and Juliet. But I actually would love to be able to do Julius Caesar. That's one of my favorite plays, and I've done a scene from that. I've done monologues, and it's still like one of my favorite plays. And it's just so heartbreaking, and it has not only the personal aspects but the politics, and it's an interesting thing that it makes the politics of it not boring, even for someone who normally wouldn't like the political aspects of plays. I just think it's a really interesting play, and really gets down to the heart of people. If that makes sense.
Okay, and one more thing for our audience, please just state your name.
I am Benjamin Arsenault.
My name is Sara Marie.
Thank you, and have a nice day.